I remember sitting at home watching the tournament between, the tournament had 4 guys in it: BJ Penn, Matt Serra, Kato Uno, and Dean Thomas. And I just had my first win in the UFC. And I was like, man, I could beat these guys. I could fight these guys. I could beat these guys. And for some reason, I was sitting there, I was watching them. I was like, I can beat these guys, but not tonight. Like, if I had to fight tonight, like, I'm not in shape to fight tonight. And I know they prepared for tonight over weeks, but like, I got to be ready like that all the time. Yep. I got to be ready so over literally after that tournament happened, I think I went like 12-1, you know? And the one that I lost was like, for me, I honestly believe it was a knowledge thing, a lack of, like, I couldn't wrestle. I just got out wrestled by somebody who was physically stronger and a better wrestler.
This is the Nico Lagan Show. Frankly, motivation is bullshit. What you need is discipline, and your mindset is the difference between success and failure. Warning. Warning. This show contains explicit content. Listener discretion is advised. Real, raw, and shooting you straight. This is the Nico Lagan Show. And now your host, Nico.
Welcome to another episode of the Nico Lagan Show. I have the tremendous honor to be speaking with Yves Edwards. What's going on, man?
Man, not too much. I'm chilling. I'm back here in Houston. This is my adopted home. You know, in America, this is my home. So it's good to be back, man, because I get to be around family. I get to see a lot of old friends, and then I don't know. Like I've lived in a couple places in this country, and I've liked a lot of them. I liked living in Austin. I liked living in California. I liked living in DC. But I don't know. This is the place that feels most comfortable to me, most like home in this country. And for as long as I'm here, I guess I like being here in the city.
As a Canadian, I like the fact that I rode my motorcycle to the gym this morning. In December? November. Oh, yeah. Let's call it December.
Yeah.
It's never happened in my life. Normally, my bike stays. I can only ride 5 months out of the year. I haven't stopped riding yet. This is beautiful to me.
Yeah, I don't know why people live in Canada though. So like that's
they don't know any better. I think that's what it is. But there are people that like snow. The crazy bastards out there that like snow, they exist.
I don't get. I like snow cones. That's about it.
Not quite the same. So you don't mind eating snow. You don't want to live in snow.
Yeah, I don't want to live in snow, and I don't want to eat yellow snow. That's it. Those are the two things where snow is concerned. I don't mind throwing a snowball or two every once in a while.
Yeah,
but like 10 minutes in the snow is enough for me.
Yeah, I get it. I fully understand it.
I can't. That whole thing with your fingers start feeling like people are stabbing you with needles. Yeah. Like, that's a real thing, man. I heard about it. I read about it in books, and it's just like, oh, it can't be that bad. Blah, blah.
No,
I was out there for a little bit playing in the snow, having a snowball fight, and blah, blah, blah. Like 5 minutes in, I'm like, I'm wearing mittens, and I don't want to pick up snowballs anymore because now my mittens are wet from picking up snowballs, and my hands are warm, and my fingers are now freezing, and I hate this. I want to get out of this. Oh man, the snow it's so bad.
It's very pretty on pictures. It's very nice on videos. If you're a skier, it's very cool. But I'm not living in that shit anymore.
Don't want to ski. Well, the first book I sat down and read as a kid, I might have been like 9 years old, was Call of the Wild, and you know the book about the dog. So there's a book about this dog. He's like, I don't know. I don't remember exactly if he was a husky breed.
Yeah.
But either he ran away or you get kidnapped or it's stolen. And then he ended up with this sledding team of dogs.
Yeah.
But like he was domesticated, and these dogs were, I guess they were domesticated, but like they were sled dogs now at this point. And he had to learn how to be in this environment. You know, he wasn't used to anyway, the thing about it that really stood out to me was that these dogs used to dig into the snow and make like a little cocoon, I guess, and you could insulate yourself inside the snow. And I'm just like, I'm not buying that. I don't buy it.
It's true though.
Like, you insulate yourself inside a freezer.
Yeah. You can literally
and stay warm.
Yeah, you can literally build an igloo. That's what igloos are.
Yeah.
No,
but like how does it not melt from the inside out?
But hold on, we're not saying that it's plus 30 degrees in there. It's just it's a lot more comfortable than outside. It's all into perspective. You're not in the igloo in your wife beater and your shorts and you're watching TV and your flip flops there, bro. Okay. It's still cold.
So see, like for me, like you got to remember, I'm from the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Like in my lifetime, I didn't see snow until I was like 23 or 24.
That's why I'm not going to keep it against you.
Okay.
As a Canadian that's lived in that shit my whole life, I can tell you that you can survive in an igloo.
You can survive. See, yeah. I don't want to survive in snow.
But this is why I use the word surviving.
Yeah.
It's not preferable. Let's say that, but it's a lot better to be in an igloo than be outside.
So you're telling me I can't like have like a recliner in there and a nice fireplace going?
No. It's
my feet by the fire getting warm and toasty.
No. It's a survival thing.
Oh man.
Plus, those dogs are used to it, right? You look at huskies; they're meant.
Yeah.
They're literally meant for that.
For that
so to them, their hair is meant for that. Like they'll be outside in minus 20 and they're having the time of their life, right?
Man, I'm gonna build an igloo and I'm gonna put like a freaking hot tub inside and good fireplace and direct TV.
You know, you'll have the first igloo in Houston. Let me know when you make it happen. I'll come here and record that shit. Because
sometimes it gets cold here. Like, but for me, like anything below, for me, anything below really, 61 degrees is
cold,
and that was that Fahrenheit. Celsius. That's like 61 degrees Celsius is probably like 23.
No, it's less than that. No, 61. No, 61. You're probably looking at more like 15.
15.
I'd say 10 to 15. I think in Celsius, but
I've been negative 17 Celsius before, and I'm like, nope, not doing this again. I was in Banff.
Listen, last year was minus 40 Fahrenheit. Because at that point, Fahrenheit and Celsius kind of meet. Yeah. They're almost equal. Man, that was a tangent.
Call of the Wild. Go read it, kids.
Is that something you still do? Do you still read?
I read. Not as much. There was one point when I was reading like 30, 40 books a year.
Yeah.
But a lot of them were like fantasy.
Yeah.
But I read a lot more again now, more recently. But I read a lot of like historical stuff. You know.
Why do you read?
Like King Leopold's Ghost, autobiography of Malcolm X.
Okay.
A lot of stuff like that.
But why?
Thomas Sankara. Because I want to learn more about some of these black leaders from the past, some of their philosophies, Marcus Garvey, stuff like that. I'm very, very pro-black. So like I think learning the history and remembering what's been forgotten, learning things that I don't know or things that I did forget, you know, those things are big to me.
Or things that weren't taught either.
Or things that, especially, there's so much that I learned that wasn't taught. I mean, it blows my mind that like I was 38 years old before I even heard of Mansa Musa. You know what I mean? I was at least 30 something years old. I didn't learn that as a kid. That blows my mind. There's
a lot of, if you look
missing
at
history.
Well, look at the education system that we have. It's absolutely, absolutely terrible. It's not, at the end of the day, I don't want, my kids will never go through an education system.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything. I don't have any kids right now, but soon. And I will do I'm working my ass off right now to make sure my kids have private tutors that will follow them until they don't need them anymore. And I will teach them 50% of what they'll know will come from me, and the rest will come from
Experience.
specialized tutors.
Okay.
Because there's no way my kids are going to get boxed in the education system as I was boxed in, made to believe that I was stupid because I did not work into learning when a teacher tells me something. Yet I don't have a university degree, but I'm smarter than, I'd say, without being cocky, 99% of people that attended university, and I got zero education on paper.
I understand what you're talking about. Like for me, it's always been like the simple fact that I've never used the Pythagorean theorem since I left school.
Really?
But like I've had to do taxes every year.
Yep.
But I didn't learn that in school.
They don't teach you taxes. They don't teach you budgeting. They don't teach you to defend yourself.
And
they
then,
don't really teach you how to choose a mate.
Yeah.
How do you choose a woman? Can you make a better or stupid? You can't make a more stupid decision or a better decision in your life by who you choose to have in your life and to have fucking kids
children
with.
Yeah,
especially in the justice system that we live in right now. If you're with a woman that's vindictive, she can prevent you from seeing your kids.
Yeah.
So there's nothing more important than knowing how to make money, how to budget that money, and how to fucking choose a mate that you can raise kids with.
Yeah. And along with like reading pro black stuff, I also come across a lot of things that are just educational. A lot of them end up being like financial education, or financial history.
Yep.
You know, like some of the things the Rothschilds did with education, with pharmaceuticals,
of course,
like the Rockefellers. Yeah, it kind of blows my mind that like, and this information is out there and it's not that hard to access, but you know, people get caught down the rabbit hole and go to YouTube or Google and they start seeing dancing cats and it's like, oh, this is funny, I'm gonna watch this instead.
You know what though? I think that's that's an excuse. Because if you choose not to do it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because so it's in the same way to say, oh, there's so many fast food restaurants here, it's normal for me to be fat. Like, fuck off. Take responsibility for your actions. If you spend 4 hours of your day watching cat videos on YouTube, it's your fucking fault.
I feel attacked.
Do you?
When you start talking about fat people and no, bro, I'm just kidding. I don't.
You're not what I call a fat person. You're definitely not it. It's amazing though, because that's something that again was not taught to me when I was a kid. Like reading, that was not part of my life. It's not something, yes, I did in school to a certain degree, but it was never stressed in a way where this is a skill that's going to be important for you to possess. It's something that should be mandatory. And over the past 4 years, I've probably read 300 books. If I didn't read one, I read 300 of them. It's how else can you acquire knowledge that's no longer taught today?
It's different too. Reading, like it's funny because my mom used to always really push reading on me, and as a little kid, like I was just like, no, I don't want to read. And then I only want to read the things I want to read. Like I want to read comic books and whatnot. And as I got older, then I just started reading books, you know, and some of them were fiction, some of them were historical, some of them were factual and science, but mostly fiction for fun. But it becomes like a habit. Like you just do it all the time. And then the world changed and these phones came out. But then I started getting books on my phone.
I was going to say that's an excuse. Once again, that's an excuse. On the contrary, it makes it easier.
It does.
I like a real book. I don't read on my phone. I have a very nice library that's in boxes right now because I couldn't bring it with me in the RV. But there's something to holding a piece. A
book.
There's something
turning the pages.
Absolutely.
I that was one thing though, that for a while on my iPad,
Yep.
I did like being able to turn the page on my iPad, even though I didn't hold it in my fingers. It was still
It's not the same.
It's not the same, but it gave me a little bit of that dopamine of turning the page, you know?
See, I get up very early, and for the longest time, I'd wake up, I clip my LED light to the side of because I wouldn't light up the house. I just turn on some candles so that it's not aggressive. I'm just alone in the middle of the woods, just reading.
I lay in bed like this sometimes. Put this on my chest.
And you're just reading?
Book, yeah. Turn on the flashlight on my phone. And
you can go on Amazon for about $5. There's LED lights that has a clip on the side.
Yeah, I've had some of those.
And they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Like the one that I had lasted me 2 years until I stepped on it and broke it. So it's not the device itself that was malfunctioning. It's the idiot that was handling it. But you were talking about fiction, and it's something that I came across recently, as in the last year. I've always thought that fiction was kind of a cop-out for reading. Like it's too easy to read fiction because you're not learning something. But then I paid for very high-end coaching, and during the program, the guy was saying that yes, he does read every day on something that's going to teach him something. So whatever the subject, could be finance, could be psychology, whatever, but something that's applicable. But then he went on to say that it is very important to read fiction. The reason being is it develop your imagination, which is something, again, that we don't, especially as adults, it's not something that we do a lot of.
Or is encouraged. And also reading fiction, depending on the fiction that you read, really, but reading fiction, I believe that it also, depending on the fiction that you read, it also helps enforce and encourage a morality, you know, that I think, like the comic books that I grew up reading, between that and the people that are around me in my environment, like I have this duality to me, you know, that's like, I don't want to hurt anybody, but I will if I have to. That kind of thing. You know what I mean? That
nice Japanese saying that says that I'd rather be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in a war.
Yeah. For me, I think that came from comic books and some of the things that I grew up reading.
You're a fan of superhero comics, right?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, my uncle, honestly, I think it comes from day one for me. One of my first memories, I was 3 years old, and my uncle came home with Betamax. Remember Betamax?
Yep.
Betamax cassettes.
They lost to VHS.
And we were watching, it was Enter the Dragon and the very first Superman with Christopher Reeves.
So a Bruce Lee movie or Christopher Reeve from Superman. Nice.
And so those two things, like they kind of stuck with me. And I wanted to be like both those guys. Over time, I learned Superman was an alien, and understood. I knew that from the movie, but I understood it as I grew older, and it was like, well, that's not something that can happen. But then Batman came into the picture, and I was like, I could be that guy. And then Spider-Man came into the picture.
Billions of dollars.
Yeah, I just need billions of dollars. And then Spider-Man came into the picture, and I literally, as a little kid, I remember in the 4th grade, so I'm 9 years old, and I'm trying to convince my friends that, like, somehow we could irradiate an ant and let it bite me.
Let's find something that's radioactive to bite me. Wow, that's a great idea. So how did that work out for you?
Fortunately, I was in the Bahamas and we didn't have any radioactive. I didn't have any access to anything radioactive anyway. So I don't know. Probably put an ant in the microwave for like 6 minutes.
Yeah, that's not going to do much to it. You're not going to get anything out of that ant afterwards. Eh? Did you see something? Because at its base, superheroes are shit. What's the name of the movie? There's a movie that explains it very well. It's with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. I cannot remember what
Mr. Glass.
It's the first one. Mr. Glass is either the second or the last
Unbreakable.
one. Unbreakable. See, Unbreakable to me, when I watched that movie, it explained a lot, and I like the theory behind it, that the comics are an exaggeration, but that as Bruce Willis in that movie and as Mr. Glass or Samuel L. Jackson in that movie, they're very human beings. But they're special. They sit literally on two extreme of the same line.
Yeah.
You and I sit somewhere in the middle, but they are very special in a way that they never realized how special they were until something forced them
Yeah.
to use those skills. Because Bruce Willis never knew that never got sick, never broke anything. He knows that he got in an accident when he should have died and got out with nothing and faked it to be with his wife, but he never put it two and two together. But that makes me believe if you look at the story and you take it in a real application in real life to say, okay, there are people like Samuel L. Jackson. That disease exists. It's not a fake disease.
Yep.
To me, it means that there are some people like Bruce Willis on the complete opposite of the
side.
spectrum that don't even fucking know. They're not aware because to them it's just normal.
Yeah. It's every day.
It's just every day. Those guys don't realize that are those superpowers? Not really, but they're abilities that the average person does not possess.
Yeah.
But if you see the negative one, you know for a fact that the other side of the spectrum exists.
There's two sides of the coin. I don't know. It's probably like John Jones. Something like that.
Sure. And imagine a guy, well, look at Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
They were saying like 23, 24 gold medals, like he's the highest medaled athlete, at least in swimming, if not in everything. But they were doing an analysis of his body, and they're like, he was meant, he has the perfect body for a human being to be swimming.
Yeah.
He didn't build that. You cannot build that body after you're born. It was part of him to be like that, and somehow he fucking found swimming.
That's where the special guys come into play, you know? I mean, and of course he had to work hard at it too. You know, he worked hard at swimming. To him, no. Like I said, it's like the guys like John Jones and Michael Jordan.
Tiger Woods is another one.
Yeah, they're these special guys who kind of find their calling, you know, and I'm sure there's still probably at least 6 or 7 other things they could be especially good at.
Yeah.
But like they found one of those things and they were able to master it, you know.
But they had the background.
They had the background and the right format for them to or the right tools to go into that and excel. You know,
if you look at John Jones, I think 3 of his brothers are the NFL.
Yeah.
So you know that their parents are very pushy. Like their parents believe in sports, they believe in athlete, they believe in pushing them into those sports. I don't know the story, but there's no fucking way in hell that you produce that type of talent and dedication and discipline. Because I don't care how good you are. If you're not disciplined, you're not fucking making it to the big leagues.
That's the thing too, though, about discipline. Passion can sometimes serve to be a fuel for discipline, you know? When you want something so much, like discipline becomes easy. It's easy to go out there and do it every day when you really want it.
But is that passion or is that an obsession?
I think passion and obsession, like there's a fine line to where one turns into the other, you know?
I think they're the same. Personally, I don't see a difference.
Yeah.
One has a bad connotation and the other one sounds awesome to people. Oh,
yeah, maybe that's what it is.
I'm not emotional. I'm passionate.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that maybe that's what it is. And people get that way about things, you know, they get that way about people. They get that way about, especially when you see guys start to excel. I think like, Matt Brown. Use Matt Brown as an example, right?
Love Matt Brown.
Matt Brown,
the immortal.
Right. He like Matt is not. He's not the best athlete. Doesn't have all the best physical attributes.
He wasn't genetically gifted.
Right. And at one point, like he was just average, and then there was a time when he just kind of bit down, locked down, and like fell in love with the sport. Like he was doing it and he was doing well at it and he was having success, and I'm sure he liked it.
And he was in the best league on the planet too.
Right. And then I believe like there was something that happened that made him like really passionate about it, and that changed the trajectory of his career, you know? Like that happened for me. That happened for me when I remember sitting at home watching the tournament between the tournament had 4 guys in it: BJ Penn, Matt Serra, Kato Uno, and Dean Thomas. And I just had my first win in the UFC. And I was like, man, I could beat these guys. I could fight these guys. I could beat these guys. And for some reason, I was sitting there, I was watching them. I was like, I can beat these guys, but not tonight. Like, if I had to fight tonight, like, I'm not in shape to fight tonight. And I know they prepared for tonight over weeks, but, like, I got to be ready like that all the time. Yep. I got to be ready like... So, like, over... Literally, after that tournament happened, I think I went, like, 12-1, you know? And the one that I lost was, like, for me, I honestly believe it was a knowledge thing, a lack of... Like, I couldn't wrestle. I just got out wrestled by somebody who was physically stronger and a better wrestler.
It's I'm a big fan of Matt Brown. I'd love to shake that guy's hand one day. Just, you know, he's one of those guys that probably will never be champion, but the heart and the mindset that guy has cannot be taught. You either have it or you don't, and what he has is special. Like, he's so strong mentally. It amazes me. Beautiful guy to watch too. Beautiful fighter to watch. I don't know how his balls fit in his cups. Like, that dude's ballsy when he's fighting. Yeah. He don't care. Doesn't back away. He's there to lose he's there to win, but he's not gonna hold you down and keep you there for
he's not there to win on points.
No.
But like, those are the guys that we love, you know, like Poirier, Robbie Lawler.
Robbie Lawler. Like, that guy has bricks in his hands.
Yeah, that's just who these guys are, man. They just... And like, if they lose, they're gonna lose. They're not gonna lose. Yeah. They're not gonna lose without fighting.
No.
They're like, you have to beat those guys. You know, even if like Robbie is past his prime, I think we would all agree. But Robbie's still a dangerous guy. But like, say Brian Barberena.
Yep.
Brian Barberena does not beat a prime Robbie Lawler. Like, I believe that fully. You know.
And can you imagine if those guys, because that's another thing we did get into it first, and I think we should do it now, but maybe tell to the people that are listening who you are, what's your background, what you do. Like, this is one of the reasons I'm so happy to have you on, because I used to watch you fight like 15 years ago, man. Maybe a bit more than that. Like, I've been watching the UFC since mid-90s, man. So just for the people out there, who are you, what do you do, and why the fuck do you do it?
That's always hard for me, because like I'm with me all the time, so I'm just me as far as I'm concerned, you know. But yeah, like Yves Edwards, I'm my dad's son. I got into mixed martial arts just because it was a passion. Like we said, like literally ever since that Bruce Lee movie when I was 3 years old, I was in love with martial arts. I grew up watching all these kung fu movies, and then as a teenager, that was the era of Van Damme and like Kickboxer and Bloodsport and all these movies, and I was like, that's so cool. I wonder which style is best. And then I moved to America at 50, and I started training at a kung fu school. And one day on the way home, well, not one day on the way home, one day I'm at home and I'm reading the TV Guide magazine or something, and I see in it, it says karate versus kickboxing versus sumo versus judo versus, and I'm just like, this is it. This is the thing I was talking about. Yep. I want to see this. And I begged my stepdad to get the pay-per-view. I was like, I'll pay for it. Just please get it. And I remember going home that day just super excited that these fights are going to be on this tonight. It's Friday night, you know, and I'm like super excited. And yeah, I'm going to watch these fights. And these guys, I'm going to see the blood sport, basically. And then I'm watching it and like the grappling, like, you know, the world doesn't know anything about that.
No.
So I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. And then Jason Lucia comes up, and I'm training praying mantis kung fu at the time. So I'm like, all right, this guy does what I do. This is going to be so cool.
Nope.
I see some cool kicks. He threw one wheel kick, and then they got into a scramble. I don't remember if the guy took him down, if he took the guy down, but he got the guy's back and he choked him. And I was like, there must be something about this that has, like, that was like the sleeper hole, but there must be something about this. And then I don't know, I just started watching like anything I can get my hands on, and then I moved back to the Bahamas, and literally a kid, my best friend's brother, was going through his ninjutsu class. He's like, we were playing basketball because that's what I used to do back then. And his little brother comes outside, and he's wearing this uniform. And I'm like, what are you doing? Where are you going? He's like, go to my ninjutsu class. And I'm like, you know ninjas in the Bahamas. And he's like, yeah, no, like we do chokes and stuff like what they do in the UFC. And I was like, no, you don't. He's like, yeah. So I got to see this. So I went up there and I was watching, and then my uncle was with me, and I was like, this is cool. And they're like, you want to try it out? I was like, yeah, it's cool. I was like 17, just about to be 18, or I just turned 18. And my uncle signed the waiver. And I go, and this 14-year-old kid chokes me. He gets me in a rear naked and chokes me. And I'm like, I got to do this. I want to do this. So like, that's where I started. And then I moved back to the U.S. and I didn't have my green card, couldn't get a job, but I had a friend who liked the fights also. And I showed him those things. I showed him the things that I learned, and we got to parks. We'd be in the grass in parks, and people are walking by, and we're just like wrestling and grappling in the park. Houston in June, July, August, and the first time we did it in shorts, and then like on the way home, just itchy and scratchy, and you know, can't get to the shower fast enough. And then so like now we're in Houston, and I'm wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt. I'm out in the park in August, sweating like a pig, but we're wrestling and whatnot. And I don't know, I just fell in love with it. I got my green card, I got a job, and my first paycheck, like literally I got paid, and I went to the bank and cashed it and went directly to the school. Like my buddies told me about this place where they teach Muay Thai, Jeet Kune Do, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I went out there and I started training, and like I was always in love with martial arts. I got videos of me as a little kid. I got a little fight scene that me and my friend that we used to go to the park and wrestle. My little fight scene that we put together because we used to do kung fu together. And I got this scene where I like jump up and I crush his neck, and I got the Bruce Lee look on my face, like, oh, like you killed my sister O'Hara. Then I sign up, and I'm loving it, man. I'm just enjoying it, and a tournament comes up, and I'm like, I want to try it, and I get put in a Kimura for like, there's a 20-minute match for like 18 minutes of the 20-minute match, and I'm just like 2 minutes in, he gets me in this Kimura, and I'm just fighting it the whole time, and I lose. I'm 19 years old, and I'm fighting this grown man who's 35. He's a pilot. He flies around the country, goes to all these different gyms, and he does pick up some skills. And he's a coach now. He coached Rashad Evans for a while. His name was Steve Cantrell, I believe his name's Steve. Shoot, I'm gonna screw that up. It'll come back to me through this course of this conversation. But anyway, I don't know. I just fell in love with I've always been in love with martial arts, and then just this opportunity to test it and mixed martial arts coming together at the time in my life. I'm sure there's plenty of people who had that dream before the sport came along, but like, I don't know, I fell in love with it, and I just took a chance, and I just kept going. I don't know how to talk about myself.
Well, I can fill up some spots if you want, especially for your fighting career. I know you probably are the only fighter I've seen that fought in you fought in one FC?
One was one of the only ones I didn't fight.
So which one was the FC one?
Elite FC.
Oh, there you go. So you fought in Elite FC, King of the Cage, Bellator. You fought in Pride. You fought in the UFC, and I'm missing one.
I fought Strikeforce.
Strikeforce
and the WEC.
And the WEC. So you literally fought in every single league that was upper league.
Yeah, everything but K1.
But that to me is,
Kickboxing,
this is
huh?
amazing. You have what, 60 plus fights?
Yeah, my record shows 66, but overall I have somewhere around 100.
Around 100 professional fights?
Yeah.
Damn.
Some kickboxing, some 2 professional boxing matches, and then some things like that. I was fighting here in Texas before the commission really got involved and they were keeping track of stuff. I have a highlight video. Some of them are amateur, but some of them are professional, and none of those things are on my record.
There's one thing, you correct me if I'm wrong here, but were you your father figure? Was it your uncle?
So it's weird. My uncle, for a time, yes.
Yeah.
My dad was around until I was 12.
Okay.
Then he passed, and then my uncle did a lot with me then. He just spent a lot of time with me. But I was playing a lot of basketball, still in the Bahamas, and I was really focused on that. Like, that was my goal. I thought my dad was like 6'3", 6'4". I thought I was going to be tall enough. I love basketball. But yeah, when I came to him, but I always loved martial arts. I came to America, and I'm in high school. I'm in the 9th grade, and I got out to play basketball, and I'm the shortest guy on the court.
Yep.
At 5'7". So yeah, it was kind of strange. But I also had this passion for martial arts, and then I thought I was going to be in movies as a martial artist, But the competition thing really, like, that was huge to me, man. I don't know why. I mean, I do like to compete. I like to win. I don't like to lose. But I don't know, like, that just kind of possessed me, It kind of became an obsession. I wanted to be the best martial artist in the world.
How did because you're saying that your dad passed away when you were 12, your uncle kind of took over and he was involved in your martial art passion too?
Not necessarily involved in my martial art passion. I was a kid. I was in the Bahamas at the time, and I wanted to do this thing, and he was the one who was like, I'm gonna make sure you're taken care of, like you're looked out for, like all my basketball games. He used to come to all my basketball games. So, and then I moved to America. And then when I went back home and this martial arts thing came up, there was also nobody else. I had 2 other uncles. So my grandmother had a sister with 2 daughters, and my uncle was my grandmother's son, and they were all around the same age, but like they were off living their life, doing their thing, and he was the only man on the side of my family that was there, and I was the only boy, I was the first grandchild, first grandson on my mom's side, and the only boy. Everybody else around was little girls, and then he had a son who's a baby, So there's really only male figure around, and he just looked out for me when my dad was gone, And then I moved here, and my stepdad stepped up. Yeah, that was really it. I didn't have a whole lot of male figures growing up in my life directly.
Yeah.
Like literally, I had mostly women in my life, and and my stepdad stepped up when I met him, and that's really it. And then we got into fighting and kind of made my own way from that. I kind of did the fighting part on my own. Like my mom didn't want me doing it. You know what I mean?
Obviously.
So yeah, it was one of those things.
But looking back, do you feel that because one of the biggest issues I see personally with today's society, especially for men, is we're raised by women. We don't have, and I say that with the utmost respect. I was raised by a single woman, but my mother could have never taught me to be a man, nor as a man can I teach a little girl to be a daughter, to be a woman. I can make sure that there's female influences around her that I believe are good for her, but I can't teach her to be a woman. Same is true for little boys, and unfortunately, as we were saying earlier, kind of the justice system is a bit against fathers, and you can tell that it shows. Like in your case, it's a bit different, and it's a bit different because your father passed away. It's not a choice at that point, but I like to hear that somebody stepped up. To me, it's so important, but it's crucial that boys have men that are ready to step up, fill the role, and even I'd go as far to say that it is the responsibility of a woman. Like in your case, for example, where your father passed away, it was a responsibility of your mother to find other men, doesn't matter who they are, as long as they're good men, to kind of teach you the ropes, be there for you for those little things that only a man can teach a boy, right?
Yeah, and my mom, I feel like she did a good job in a lot of that. Like, you know, she was young. My mom had me when she was 18. My dad passes when I'm 12. They were divorced when I was young, but she never kept me away from my dad. That was never a thing. The whole vindictive thing. Like, there are things about my mom that, like, I've learned since I've been an adult, and even recently, that blow my mind. Like, you know, problems that her and my dad had together that, like, didn't affect my relationship with him at all, because she wouldn't allow it. You know, she let him be my hero when, like, if some of the things that I knew, if I was in the development stage, I could have been angry about it and just been like, fuck that guy. But she didn't let that happen, you know. So, like, he's still my hero. But she also, like, my dad passed. My mom's 30, you know, so she's still young, and mom is beautiful, you know. So, like, everybody wants to date her, but, like, she's only allowing me to be around quality people, the men that she dated. Like, my mom didn't date a whole lot of people. Like, in my entire life, I can think of like 3 people and my stepdad, you know, who I interacted with because they were in a relationship with my mom. And this is from, shoot, like I said, my mom and dad got divorced when I was probably like 3.
Yeah.
You know, so this is from 3 to now. You know?
And you're like 23 right now.
Right. So, but like, one of the men in my life as a kid, he was, so in the Bahamas, we have the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Well, that's basically our military.
Yep.
He was an officer in the Defense Force, and I played a lot of basketball with him, but I spent a lot of time with him, learning things from him. You know, my stepdad. Yeah, but like but the family members, like, yeah, there were males on my dad's side of the family. Spent some time with them too. But on my side, there were literally only 3 guys, and 2 of them were off at college most of the time. But when they were back, also, like, that was a big deal for my mom. She understood that she couldn't raise a man to be a man, but she did the best with what she had, and she tried to put men in my life who were quality people. So I appreciate that to this day.
You should, because I don't know your mother, obviously, but those to me are all qualities of a good woman, a woman that's, let's call it, desirable. Like, to me, those are the trait that a real woman should have. Understand that there are things that she cannot accomplish. There's things that men can do better, and to actually not try to deny it, not try to take it away from you. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to suffer as a boy. If your mother doesn't take that stuff seriously and believe that she can do everything the same as a man can, you're the one that's going to pay for it.
This is my mom at 60 years old.
I'm not going to pass any comment. Who's the guy next to her? Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
I'm just fucking with you, man. I'm trying to divert the conversation from saying your mother's a beautiful woman.
But like, and shoot, even to this day, sometimes people mistake her for my sister. You know.
Yep.
So, It's no, I really appreciate her. And there was a time when I didn't. You know, you grow up, you're a boy, and
Yep.
you know, but yeah, yeah, I really appreciate her.
It's a beautiful thing what she did, because it takes it takes to be able to put your ego aside and just say, okay, what's better for my son, not for me, because she could have been vindictive, as you said. She could have decided you're not seeing your father anymore. She could have talked shit about him behind his back to you, so that because it's easy to turn a child against its parents if you want to.
I know of those things existing.
Oh yeah.
Like it's funny because like I have a daughter who's 28, right? And like she's told me things like she never told me directly things that have been said. I told her I don't want to know, but like she's said to me like her mother's done that with her, you know.
Talk shit about you.
Yeah, and like it bothers her because we didn't spend a whole lot of time together when she was super young.
Yep.
Because I was gone. But like we have a great relationship, and like we've talked, and that's one of those things. But like hearing that, and just the environment that my mom never talked shit about my dad in front of me. She never tried to keep me away from him. There's never I want to see my daddy, and oh well, he's doing this and he don't have time for you. That was never a thing. Even when like my dad was working, my dad did dance limbo. I'll show you a clip before we leave. But my dad was an entertainer, and sometimes he would travel a bunch, and it was one of those things where if my dad was out of town and I missed him and I really wanted to see him, it was like, you know, he's busy right now, but like I'm sure he will be here to see you as soon as he can. That kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, there was never, and there's like my mom used to model. And I've learned over time that like that caused tension for them. And like my mom, almost 5'2" modeling runways in France. You know what I mean? So like she's gorgeous, and that was a source of tension for them. But like, and so that's part of the reason why she stopped doing it. But like, I didn't learn this until recently, you know. And she would have never told me that if other things didn't come up that made her say no, that wasn't the problem. This was the problem. And like these things blow my mind because it's like she let me love my dad. She just let like him be my hero, and she knew that. And never, other people talk shit about my dad, and she would shut them down. If it was in front of me, she would shut them down. You know, I can't explain to you how much that means to me. Like at this age, being a dad and seeing the world and how the world works, you know, and having some experience with people like that. Yeah, man, I owe my mom way more than I could ever do to pay her back.
Seeing it from a different perspective now, because you have a daughter.
Yes.
I know you have a young child right now.
I have a daughter that's 28, a son that's 19, and a baby girl is 2.5.
So right now, when you look, I'm going to put you on the spot a bit, but when you look at your girlfriend, you're not married?
I am married.
You're married? Okay. Yeah, don't wear the ring. That's smart. If you look at your girlfriend, or your wife, should I say, does she share a lot of traits that your mother has? Do you see, not as in physical, because that's really messed up, but as if you look at psychology, the first love of a boy is his mother. The first love of a daughter, it's her dad. So if you want to know if a woman's fucked up in the head, ask her if she has a good relationship with her dad and just let her talk. Right then and there, you can tell if that's the type of woman you want to spend time with.
Yeah.
Because if she's damaged, the father brought that out.
So that's crazy because yes and no as far as my wife and any parallels to my mom. My wife loves her dad. They had a great relationship. My mom didn't get to spend much time with her dad. Like that was something that she really wanted and didn't get.
Yep.
But on the other side of that, there are some similarities in that it's such a feeling more so than, and so it's hard to put into words. The similarities are in their consciousness of caring. Like what I said about my mom and how she just allowed my dad to be my hero. Like my wife treats me like that in the sense of like, we've argued once when we were dating, you know, now we can talk. And there's a lot of times when in my head, this is how this is going to go. And I say what I have to say. And it's like, okay, well, we'll figure it out. Or, okay, well, you got to do that. So this or that. Okay. Like there's just, it's, yeah, there's, I don't know. Like she knows how to communicate.
Yep.
And like we don't, like it's really weird. And she ended up like, it's so corny. Like, oh, it's my best friend, blah, 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 yada, yada, right? But like, my wife is one of my best friends. She's the best friend in an aspect. You know what I mean? I don't have any, like, a favorite person or a favorite this or whatever. Like, it's a specific thing. But like, she is one of my best friends. She's truly a friend. And that's another thing. Cause like that's where like the other women, like I can appreciate another beautiful woman, but like, there's a line that I can't cross because this is my friend. You can't cheat on your friends. You know what I mean? Like that's a thing. Like when there's a real friendship there's a loyalty there, and loyalty has a lot of different forms, but ultimately it's one thing. And that's, I will not hurt this person because of somebody else.
Purposely.
Purposely. You know, I will not do anything intentional that's going to hurt this person because they're my friend. You know what I mean? And like those things that you can't buy, those things that you can't put a price on, those are things that matter. And like she's taught me that exists. I didn't know that even exists until I met my wife, you know, in the dynamic of relationship between a man and a woman.
See, that's that's another big problem that's happening today. We were talking about it earlier, how it's never been taught to us how to choose a mate. And even if it was something that was taught, most people don't know themselves. So how can you know how to recognize, you know, there's a saying that says, if you understand others, that means you're wise. If you understand yourself, you are enlightened. So we don't even understand ourselves. We have problems recognizing qualities and deficiencies in others, because once you understand how you are, you can say, okay, you create a nice document with a line down the middle that says what's good about Nico, what's bad about Nico, and you write all that shit down. When you're actually looking for a mate, they need to not be like you. What's the point of being with somebody that's exactly like you? That serves no purpose. It's not going to make your life any better. It'll probably make for a fucking boring life because you're exactly with somebody like you. I don't like to say that people complete each other because they don't, but they complement each other. And just the way you were talking, that means you're probably an emotional guy. And she's more down to earth in a way where she knows how to not even go into that portion of you and understand that okay, he's being emotional right now. All I have to do is diffuse the situation right now and talk about it later, and he'll be fine. That, to me, from the way you explained it, this is what she does to you. And if that's the case and she does that consciously, she's a very smart woman.
I know she's smart. I don't know if she does that consciously. She probably does to some degree.
Yeah, don't underestimate her.
Yeah,
she probably does.
Yeah. Yeah, when you said someone who's just like you or anything like that, I got a friend named Lynn.
Yeah.
And at one point, I don't know, he said he was with a girl named Lynn. And
that's fucking
like,
weird.
My name is Eve, and it's possible to be with a woman named Eve. I'm just glad her name is not Eve, because that would be weird. I started thinking about that ever since that happened. But no, yeah, she's very smart, man. Very smart, super conscientious also, and she's worked on herself. I believe that I know myself, but I don't believe I know myself in a way that I'm enlightened. There's still layers that I need to get through, but I'll get there. I know I'm gonna get there because it's something I'm working on.
Why do you think that's so important?
I've always been of the mind that if you can lie to yourself, you can lie to anyone, right? And if you can lie to yourself, that's a problem, because then you can't trust yourself. If you can't trust yourself, then who can you trust? If you can't trust you, then how do you trust anybody else? Right? Now, like, why it's important, because when you say, and you know yourself, you're enlightened, and I know that's not your quote, you're
What do you mean it's not my quote?
I know when you say that,
yeah,
like, it's like I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. And I think there was a time when I knew myself, but as things changed in my life, like, I didn't consciously keep up with those changes.
Yeah, you didn't evolve with them.
Right.
Or at least consciously evolve with them.
Right. So that's part of the thing. And especially if you knew yourself at one point and you feel like some of that's gone, like, you feel a sense of loss, and loss does not feel good. You know, not lost like you lost a person or whatever, but like even being lost in a building, you know what I mean? It's like an emotional thing that's like that. That's because it's like, or you lost something. You lost something that that was important, like keys. It's like you lost these keys to yourself because you know who you are, but for some reason those two things they're not lined up, they're not connected to your conscious behavior and who you really are. And I think it part of it used to be, there's a time when it was just like, just me. Like, I'm still just me, and I know that, but like, you're not concerned. Like, I'm going to tell the truth no matter what. I'm not concerned with how people feel. And I think that's a part of that. I think that's the thing in the real world where you don't say always what you mean because you don't want to hurt people's feelings. But like, there was a time in my life where I was like, I'm not responsible for your feelings. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not going out there intentionally trying to hurt people's feelings. But like, I'm going to tell you the truth. If you're fat and you ask me, do I look fat in this?
Yeah,
like,
don't ask me a question you really want to know the answer.
Right.
You don't want to know the answer to.
Exactly. You don't want to know the answer if you're not going to like the potential answer.
Don't ask.
Yeah. Right. If you don't know the answer and you're not sure of the potentials and you know you're not going to like some of them,
yep.
Like, don't ask me that question because I'm going to tell you the truth.
You've been listening to the Nico Lagan Show. Nico has been involved in the martial arts for 20 years. He's a Muay Thai coach, focus coach, podcaster, and sought-after public speaker. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we hope you've gotten some useful and practical information. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Coach Nico Lagan and on YouTube at The Nico Lagan Show. See you next time.